My name is Emma, and this is the story of how my seemingly perfect life unraveled before my eyes. My husband, Michael, and I lived a comfortable life, nestled in the cozy embrace of middle-class affluence. We weren't extravagantly rich, but we always had enough of everything we needed. The secret to our comfortable lifestyle lay in the fact that Michael worked for a successful company owned by my father. It was the kind of job that provided stability and security, affording us a life filled with little luxuries and a sense of contentment. I remember the evenings spent in our modest yet charming home, where Michael would come home from work, a tired but contented smile etched on his face. He would regale me with stories of his day at the office, the challenges he faced, and the victories he achieved, There was a certain pride in knowing that my father had entrusted Michael with a position of responsibility and trust within the company. One evening, as we sat together in our cozy living room, sipping on cups of steaming tea, Michael appeared unusually pensive. His gaze lingered on a photograph of his parents displayed on the mantel. It was in that moment that he made a decision that would forever change the course of our lives. "Emma," he began, his voice laced with a mixture of excitement and hesitation, "I have been thinking about my parents a lot lately. They have sacrificed so much for me, and I want to show them my gratitude in a meaningful way." I looked at him, curiosity piqued. "What do you have in mind, Michael?" I asked, wondering what grand gesture he was contemplating. He took a deep breath, his eyes meeting mine. "I want to buy them a country villa, a place where they can retire and enjoy their golden years in peace and tranquility. They've always dreamt of having a serene escape from the city." I was taken aback by his proclamation. While I admired his love and dedication towards his parents, the weight of such a decision settled heavily upon my shoulders. We were comfortable, but $1 million mortgage was no small commitment. "Michael," I hesitated, choosing my words carefully. "I understand your love for your parents and your desire to make them happy, but buying a villa on a mortgage is a significant financial burden. Have you considered the long-term implications?" He sighed, frustration flickering across his face. "Emma, I know it's a substantial commitment, but I want to give them the world. They have done so much for me, and I want to repay them in the best way I can. We can make it work. We've always managed to stay afloat." His words struck a chord within me. He was right. We had always found a way to make things work, to navigate through the trials and tribulations of life. And so, with a mix of apprehension and trust, I accepted his decision. "Okay, Michael," I said, a sense of resolution settling within me. "I trust you. Let's make it happen. Let's give your parents the gift they deserve." Little did I know the storm that awaited us in the months to come, testing the very foundation of our love and commitment to one another. The days turned into weeks, and the special occasion of my mother-in-law's birthday loomed on the horizon. Michael's determination to gift his parents a country villa never wavered, and he set the wheels in motion to make it a reality. As the preparations for the surprise unfolded, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. One evening, as we sat at the dining table, the weight of secrecy heavy in the air, I mustered the courage to address the elephant in the room. "Michael," I began tentatively, my voice betraying a mix of concern and curiosity, "I can't help but wonder, how are we going to afford this villa? $1 million mortgage is no small matter, and it will significantly impact our finances." He looked at me earnestly, a blend of excitement and determination evident in his eyes. "Emma, I understand your concerns, but I've thought this through. I've been saving diligently, and with our combined income and some adjustments to our lifestyle, we can make it work." I nodded, my mind racing with thoughts of the financial responsibility we were undertaking. "I trust you, Michael, but I hope you understand the gravity of this decision. We need to ensure we can maintain our current lifestyle and meet our other financial obligations as well." He reached out, his hand gently caressing mine. "I promise, Emma, we will make it work. This is a gift that means the world to my parents, and it means a lot to me too. We'll find a way to balance everything." And so we embarked on the journey of purchasing the country villa, the excitement mingled with a hint of apprehension. As the paperwork was finalized and the keys to the villa were handed over, a mix of emotions swirled within me. I felt a sense of pride in Michael's commitment to his parents, but also a touch of unease about the future. The day of the surprise arrived, and we drove together to the countryside where the villa stood, a picturesque retreat surrounded by nature's beauty. As we approached the grand entrance, my heart swelled with anticipation. The joy on Michael's face was palpable as he unveiled the surprise to his parents. "Mom, Dad, happy birthday. This is your new home, a place where you can relax, unwind, and enjoy your retirement." Their eyes widened with astonishment, disbelief mingling with gratitude. Tears welled up in my mother-in-law's eyes as she hugged Michael tightly, words failing to express the depth of her emotions. "Oh, Michael, this is beyond our wildest dreams. Thank you so much." In that moment, I couldn't help but share in their joy, feeling a glimmer of hope that this extravagant gesture would strengthen our family bonds. Little did I know the challenges that lay ahead, the toll it would take on our relationship, and the cracks it would expose in the foundation of our marriage. The next 6 months were a trying time for me, as the weight of the villa and the sacrifices it demanded began to take their toll on our relationship. The grand gesture that was meant to bring joy and harmony instead created a chasm between us. I found myself constantly shuttling Michael's parents from the town to the villa and back, sacrificing my own leisure and relaxation. The responsibilities that came with the villa, coupled with our daily lives and work commitments, left me exhausted and overwhelmed. The distance between us grew, and the once cherished moments we shared became scarce. During one particularly tense evening, frustration bubbled to the surface, and the strain within me reached a breaking point. We sat in the living room, our voices laced with weariness and unspoken resentment. "Emma, you need to understand that we can't just vacation at the villa whenever we want," Michael snapped, his voice tinged with irritation. "We're the ones paying the mortgage for it. It's a luxury we can't afford." Tears welled up in my eyes as I tried to explain my longing for a break, for a moment of respite in the sanctuary we had bought. "Michael, I know we have responsibilities, but what about us? What about our needs and desires? I feel like we're drowning in obligations, and the villa we purchased has become more of a burden than a sanctuary." He sighed heavily, the lines of exhaustion etched on his face. "I understand, Emma, but we have to prioritize. We can't indulge in luxuries while we struggle to make ends meet. We have to sacrifice for the sake of our future." His words pierced my heart, echoing the growing divide between us. I couldn't help but wonder if the sacrifices were worth the price we were paying, both individually and as a couple. The tension in our relationship escalated, and our arguments became more frequent, filled with bitterness and unspoken frustrations. I found myself yearning for a connection, for moments of intimacy and understanding that seemed to have faded away. But each time I tried to express my desires or communicate my concerns, it felt like my words fell on deaf ears. Days turned into weeks, and the weight of the villa became an ever-present reminder of the wedge that had driven us apart. The promises of quality time and cherished memories at the villa remained unfulfilled, replaced by the constant strain of chauffeuring and fulfilling obligations to Michael's parents. I questioned whether the sacrifice was truly worth it, whether the love that once bound us together was strong enough to weather this storm. The villa, once a symbol of joy and love, now loomed as a symbol of our crumbling marriage. As the months wore on, the strain of sacrifice grew heavier, threatening to consume the love and happiness that had once defined us. The cracks in our relationship deepened, and I couldn't help but wonder if there was a way to mend what had been broken, or if it was time to confront the truth and seek a different path forward. A heavy cloud of tension hung over our marriage, and it seemed as though we were tiptoeing on the edge of a precipice. The strain of the villa, the sacrifices, and the unfulfilled promises had pushed us to our breaking point. One evening, the weight of disappointment and resentment reached its peak. We sat in our dimly lit living room, the air thick with unspoken words and unmet expectations. I gathered the courage to address the growing wedge between us, hoping for a glimmer of understanding. "Michael," I began softly, my voice trembling with a mix of vulnerability and determination. "I can't help but feel like we've lost sight of what truly matters. We've sacrificed so much, and yet it feels like we're drifting further apart. I miss the moments we used to share, the joy and love that once defined our relationship." He looked at me, frustration etched on his face. "Emma, you have to understand that this villa was never meant for us. It was a gift for my parents, and we need to respect that. We can't be selfish and expect to benefit from it." A wave of hurt washed over me, his words stinging like salt on an open wound. "Michael, I'm not asking for the world. I just long for a moment of respite, a chance to escape the burdens that have consumed us. Is it too much to ask for a break, for a shared experience that can bring us closer together?" His voice grew louder, filled with frustration and anger. "We can't afford to indulge ourselves, Emma. The mortgage for that villa hangs over our heads like a guillotine. We have to prioritize our financial stability and responsibility. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized the depth of his stubbornness, his inability to see beyond the burdens we carried. The breaking point had arrived, and with a heavy heart, I made a decision that would forever alter the course of our lives. "Michael," I said, my voice quivering with a mix of sadness and resolve, "I can't continue down this path. Our love and happiness have been overshadowed by the weight of this villa. I don't want to live in a constant state of resentment and sacrifice. I think it's time we consider going our separate ways." His eyes widened with shock, disbelief etched on his face. "You can't be serious, Emma. We've built a life together." A bitter smile crossed my lips as I looked into his eyes, searching for a hint of understanding. "Built a life on sacrifices and unfulfilled promises. No, Michael, I can't live like this anymore. I deserve happiness, and so do you. Maybe it's time we find it separately." The room fell silent, the weight of our words hanging in the air. In that moment, I realized that the breaking point had become a crossroad, a moment where we had to make a choice. To salvage what was left of our love or to release ourselves from the shackles of a strained and unfulfilled marriage. Little did I know that this decision would set into motion a series of events that would reveal the true nature of our relationship and test the limits of our resilience and strength. The decision to end our marriage weighed heavily on my heart, but I knew it was the necessary step to reclaim my happiness and find a sense of peace. The divorce proceedings moved swiftly, as if the universe itself was urging us to sever the ties that bound us. I moved back into my childhood home, seeking solace and support from my parents during this tumultuous time. Surrounded by familiar memories and the unconditional love of my family, I slowly began to rebuild my shattered spirit. One day, as I was settling into my newfound independence, my phone rang and an all-too-familiar name flashed on the screen. It was Michael, the ex-husband from whom I had parted ways, the person I had once shared my hopes and dreams with. Reluctantly, I answered the call, unsure of what he could possibly want. His voice trembled with a mix of regret and uncertainty as he spoke. "Emma, why did a lawyer come to my house today? What is going on? And why haven't you paid your portion of the mortgage?" My breath caught in my throat as I listened to his words. The realization washed over me like a wave crashing against the shore. He hadn't understood. He thought the villa was a shared responsibility, that I still held a stake in its financial burden. With a steady voice, I replied, "Michael, the villa was never mine. It was your gift to your parents. I didn't pay the mortgage because it wasn't my obligation. It was your decision, your responsibility. Silence hung in the air, pregnant with the weight of his realization. His words, filled with regret, reached my ears. I'm so sorry, Emma. I misunderstood. I thought it was our burden to bear. I never meant to burden you with it. My heart ached at the sound of his remorse, but I knew I had to stand my ground for my own sake. I appreciate your apology, Michael, but it's too late now. The damage has been done, and I have moved on. I deserve a life free from the weight of sacrifice and unfulfilled promises. His voice cracked with a mix of desperation and longing. Emma, please let me make it right. I'll take it all back, the villa, the burden. We can start over, repair what's been broken. A bittersweet smile touched my lips as I realized that the wounds ran deeper than a simple gesture or apology could heal. It was a culmination of years of neglect and miscommunication, of sacrificing our own happiness for the sake of others. No, Michael, I said firmly, my voice filled with resolution. I appreciate your offer, but I've made my peace with this decision. It's time for both of us to find our own paths, to rediscover happiness on our own terms. With a heavy sigh, I ended the call, tears glistening in my eyes. The divorce had brought closure, but it also reminded me of the dreams and hopes that had shattered along the way. As I wiped away my tears, a newfound sense of freedom washed over me. I was no longer tied to a life of sacrifice and unfulfilled promises. The path ahead may be uncertain, but I was determined to forge my own destiny, to create a life that honored my desires and aspirations. Little did I know that this newfound independence would lead me down a path of self-discovery, where I would find the strength to embrace my own happiness and redefine the meaning of love and fulfillment. Life settled into a rhythm of newfound independence as I navigated the aftermath of the divorce. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into weeks, and weeks into months as I focused on rebuilding myself and finding my own path to happiness. One ordinary afternoon, while engrossed in a book that offered solace amidst the chaos of my emotions, my phone jolted me from the tranquility of the moment. Curiosity piqued. I glanced at the caller ID and was taken aback to see Michael's name displayed once again. Hesitant, but intrigued, I answered the call, uncertain of what could have prompted him to reach out to me. His voice was laced with a mix of apprehension and sincerity. Emma, it's me, Michael. I know it's been some time, but I wanted to talk to you. There's something important I need to share. My heart quickened its pace, wary of what news he might deliver. However, I mustered the courage to respond calmly. All right, Michael. What is it? What could be so important? He took a deep breath before continuing, his words tinged with regret. I've lost my job, Emma. It happened suddenly, and I suspect your father had a hand in it. I never wanted things to turn out this way. I never wanted to hurt you. Surprise mingled with concern as I absorbed his revelation. The realization that my father, whom Michael had worked for, could have influenced such a significant change in his life sent a chill down my spine. You believe my father had a role in this? I asked, my voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and anger. Why would you think that, Michael? His voice wavered, laden with the weight of his words. I overheard some conversations, Emma, things that made it clear your father had a hand in pushing me out of the company. I never expected this kind of betrayal, especially from someone I considered family. My mind raced, attempting to make sense of the situation. I had always known my father to be a powerful and influential figure, but the idea that he would sabotage Michael's career for personal reasons was unfathomable. Anger welled up within me as I confronted Michael. If what you're saying is true, then it's a betrayal not just to you, but also to me. I can't believe my father would stoop so low. But regardless, it doesn't change the fact that we are no longer together and I have moved on. Regret laced his voice as he responded, I understand, Emma. I don't expect you to forgive me or give our relationship another chance. I just wanted to let you know the truth and apologize for everything that has happened." Silence hung in the air, heavy with the weight of our shared history and the unforeseen twists and turns it had taken. After a moment of contemplation, I found the strength to respond, my voice resolute. "I appreciate your honesty, Michael, and I accept your apology, but we must continue to move forward separately. The past is behind us, and it's time we focus on creating new paths for ourselves." The line went quiet, a tangible reminder of the finality of our conversation. I hung up, my heart heavy but resolute. The unexpected call had reopened wounds that I thought had healed, but it also served as a reminder of the strength I had gained through the process of letting go. As I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, I vowed to forge ahead, embracing the uncertainty of the future and cherishing the newfound independence that had been hard-earned. The unexpected call had brought closure to a chapter in my life, reminding me that my happiness and well-being were now firmly within my own grasp. In the wake of the unexpected call with Michael, I found myself at a crossroads. Poised on the threshold of a new chapter in my life, the revelations and closure brought by our conversation ignited a spark within me. A renewed sense of purpose and determination to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. With each passing day, I embraced the freedom of self-discovery. I explored new hobbies, reconnected with old friends, and embarked on adventures that once seemed distant dreams. The weight of the past gradually lifted, replaced by a burgeoning sense of empowerment and excitement for the future. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, I sat on the porch of my childhood home, breathing in the crisp air and reveling in the peace that enveloped me. It was in this serene moment that my phone chimed, breaking the stillness. Curiosity piqued. I reached for my phone and glanced at the screen. The name that appeared left me momentarily breathless. Sarah, a dear friend I hadn't seen in years. Eagerly, I answered the call, anticipation lacing my voice. "Sarah, it's been so long. How have you been?" Her voice, filled with warmth and excitement, echoed through the phone. "Emma, it's wonderful to hear your voice. I've missed you. I actually have some incredible news, and I thought you'd be the perfect person to share it with." Intrigued, I leaned forward, my heart quickening its pace. "Tell me, Sarah." A hint of enthusiasm danced in her words. "Remember that publishing company I started a while back? Well, it's been flourishing and we're expanding. We're looking for someone with your creativity and passion to join our team. And Mama, I want to offer you a job, an opportunity for a fresh start." Surprise mingled with excitement as her words sank in. The prospect of immersing myself in a new venture surrounded by a supportive and creative team was both thrilling and daunting. I took a moment to gather my thoughts before responding. "Sarah, that sounds incredible. I never thought I'd have such an opportunity. I've been craving a fresh start, a chance to embrace my own aspirations. Thank you for thinking of me." Her laughter echoed through the line, laced with happiness. "You deserve it, Emma. You've always had a talent for storytelling, and I believe this is the perfect avenue for you to shine. Think about it and let me know. The doors are open whenever you're ready." As I ended the call with Sarah, a sense of possibility welled up within me. The path ahead, once shrouded in uncertainty, now beckoned with promise. It was time to embark on a new journey, one that would allow me to redefine myself, to pursue my passions, and to carve out a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. Days turned into weeks as I pondered Sarah's offer, weighing the pros and cons and evaluating the depths of my own desires. Ultimately, my heart spoke with unwavering conviction, and I made the decision to embrace this opportunity. A chance to start anew and reclaim my voice. On my first day at the publishing company, a mixture of nervousness and excitement swirled within me. The office buzzed with creativity and a shared sense of purpose, an environment that nurtured the seeds of possibility within my soul. As I settled into my new role, surrounded by like-minded individuals, a sense of belonging washed over me. The past was no longer a heavy burden, but a foundation upon which I could build a brighter future. The experiences, both painful and enlightening, had shaped me into a stronger, more resilient version of myself. Months turned into years, and with each passing moment, I found myself flourishing in my newfound career. The stories I penned touched hearts and ignited imaginations, serving as a testament to the power of resilience and the beauty of embracing change. In the embrace of this new beginning, I discovered that life was a tapestry of unexpected twists and turns, woven together to form a mosaic of growth and self-discovery. Through the tumultuous journey, I had emerged on the other side, a woman reborn, empowered and ready to script the next chapter of her own story.